What is going on, legends? It is your boy King Arn, and in this video I'll be going over how to win more games in Apex Legends Season 4. And if you guys do stick around to the end of the video, I have an extra tip that will benefit you guys. And without further ado, let's get right into the video, man. Let's go, man. Alright, legends, before we do hop into the 5 tips to win more games in Apex Legends Season 4, if you are watching this video and you are new, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, as this is where you can find the finest tips on making you an improved Apex Legends player. To all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for watching my videos. Much love to you guys, and let's get right into it. Are you guys having trouble getting a win on Apex Legends? Well, don't worry, King Arn is here to guarantee you guys more wins in Season 4 on Apex. For the first tip to winning more games in Apex Legends, I have is where it all begins. Making sure you have a useful squad before even entering a match. And guess what? It starts with you. Now, what I mean by having a useful squad is try to stay away from legends that don't really benefit your team. A couple legends that have no utilities or tacticals for the whole team is something like a Bloodhound, Mirage, and Revenant. All these 3 legends are basically solo legends and won't really help out their team with their abilities, as it really only benefits themselves. Now keep in mind that this is a team game and every member on your team counts, because without your teammates, there's a slim to none chance that you'll even make it into the champion squad. So I know sometimes you like to play different legends just to mess around, but when going for wins on Apex Legends, make sure you main a useful legend that will help benefit your team. Doing this will make the games come a lot easier to yourself and as well to your teammates. Also, choose a legend that best fits your playstyle, whether you like to play aggressive or you like to set up shop somewhere. I would say keep 3 legends in your pool selection so you can have a little diversity in the game. Because sometimes your legends either end up getting picked or you just want to change it up a little bit. But try to master at least 2 legends. Try getting 1,000 kills on each legend so you can see how he works and exactly how he's going to be beneficial to the team. But as far as the team wise goes, if you're playing with friends and picking up players from the forums, make sure you really only have them play legends that will benefit the team. Like I said, build yourself a useful team. So currently for Season 4 meta, the top tier legends that you must at least have on your team would be probably a Gibraltar, as he adds so much utility and tactics to your team. And another legend that is really helpful would be Wraith, as she can get you out of sticky situations and reset the team to either re-enter or bail gunfights. Alright, legends, that's going to wrap up tip number 1. Moving forward on to the next tip. Alright, legends, now for tip number 2 I have is know where you're going to loot. Now, something to keep in mind when the match does begin, you can see where the ship is cut in the map, so this will allow you to either land somewhere far away from enemies and you could just loot and play the game for the last couple circles, or you can just choose a spot right off the rip. But when landing right off the rip, your chances of coming out of a populated area will cut more than half. Also, what you have to keep in mind is you're probably going to have 3rd parties, 4th parties, and sometimes even 5 parties trying to come up and clean everything up. But in reality, the early game, it's very hard to come out on top when fighting 2 or more teams just because you don't have enough loot to sustain all that fighting. You might run out of bullets or heals, so what I feel the smartest thing to do before you jump off the ship is waiting until there's about 5 squads left and you and your team can agree where to loot then. This way you play it safe and have all squad members geared up and prepared before engaging a gunfight. Another thing to keep in mind when you guys are jumping off the ship is try to land somewhere where there's going to be a lot of loot. Or chances are, if you guys do loot and you don't have the best loot, you guys can rotate to another city or town to grab more loot to be more prepared for the gunfights coming up. If you guys have this mindset, you will definitely see yourself winning more games on Apex. Alright, moving on to the next tip. Okay, legends, for tip number 3 I have is sticking together. Sticking together and working as a team will increase your percentage to win more Apex Legends games. Things to keep in mind when you and your team are running around like a unit is that you guys all have somewhat equal loot. So don't be selfish and drop 1 or 2 batteries or medkits for your teammates so they can heal up while under some intense gunfight exchanges. What you don't want to do is trying to drop heals while in a gunfight, as this can make the situation worse for your team and end up getting your whole squad wiped very easily. Because there are multiple ways the enemies can flood you. Another thing to keep in mind is when sticking with your teammates is that you guys aren't all clumped up in one spot. Spread and cover different angles that the enemies can push so you can pick them off by surprise. And also, this will be putting yourself in a more dominant position. Also, if you see your teammate just got hit really hard and he is literally one shot, as a teammate, what you have to keep in mind is that the enemy is most likely going to full send your teammate. So your job is to apply the most pressure possible on incoming enemies so that your teammate can heal up and join back into the fight. Doing this will relieve lots of pressure off your teammates so they can re-engage into the gunfight and be fully healed up so you guys can be on the top of the exchange. Okay, Legends, these are a couple things to keep in mind when sticking together and staying as a unit. Otherwise, moving on to the next tip. All right, Legends, for tip number 4 I have is rotating circle early. Legends, when you are rotating the circles early and preparing for gunfights, this will help you avoid getting zone kept, as we all hate having that situation happen to us. So to avoid this, try to rotate the next circle with about a minute before ring closing. Also keep in mind that you have to make it to about 4 to 5 rings to even be in the champion squad. So rotating early will only help your team out in getting the best position possible. And don't really worry about not having loot, because while you and your team are positioned well, a full squad wipe for your team is very high. With your positioning, it is quite easy to do so. And I'm sure after that squad wipe, you will find yourself with more loot to sustain longer in the rounds. Another thing to keep in mind when you rotate early, you will be more prepared to take on gunfights as the enemy is pushing towards you and not the other way around. It tends to be in your favor when your enemy is trying to take your position control, as your line of fire is more dominant than your enemies. So rotate circles early so you guys can find yourself in the best position possible so you guys can start picking off enemies before they do. All right, Legends, that's going to wrap it up for tip number 4. Moving on to the last and final tip. Okay, Legends, if you made it to this part of the video, drop a like on it, as it will be very appreciated. Otherwise, let's move on to the last and final tip to winning more Apex Legends games. For tip number 5 I have is know your role on your team. Now, depending on what legend you are maining, you should have a good idea on how your legend plays a key factor role on the team. For example, if you do main Pathfinder, you should always be keeping your team on high grounds with your ultimate zipline, and make sure your team has the best position on the map for more success on winning more gunfights. So with any legend you're maining, whether it's a recon support or an assault legend, make sure to use all their tactics wisely, as you don't want to waste anything for absolutely no reason, because abilities and ultimates do have their own cooldowns, so make sure you don't waste them for no reason. But also, this comes with experience in the game and also knowledge, so the more you play with your legend, the more effective you will utilize them in-game decision making. So like I said previously in the video, try to main at least 2 legends and try to get 1,000 kills with each of them so you can have a rough idea how it's supposed to be played in a team game. Alright, Legends, that's all for the 5 tips to winning more Apex Legends games. Thank you, Legends, for making it to this point of the video, as I have an additional tip to help you and your team to win more Apex Legends games. What you want to do is hop into a firing range with both of your teammates and start to 1v1 each other, so you can get used to being in those situations. I would recommend 3 battles with your teammates in a 1v1 to see who can win the 2 battles first. Whoever wins the 2 battles first will be earned 1 point. Play to see who gets the 5 points first, and he will be declared the winner. After completing these sessions, then the winner will go against both of his teammates, making it a 1v2 situation for 1 round or 3 battles, and see how many he can take. Also, you can rotate teammates as well during the 1v2 situation practice, so we can all have chances of being under those situations. Okay, Legends, thank you so much for watching my video, as I hope it did help you out. If you guys do have any comments, leave them down in the comment sections below, and if you enjoyed the video and it did help you out, drop a like on it, as it will be appreciated. And before we end, if you guys are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, and thank you so much. And it's been your boy King Aaron, man, and I'm out, man. Peace. Catch you guys in the next one.